Super Bowl 53, the New England Patriots, the LA Rams, the best from the AFC, the best from the NFC, two brilliant coaches behind two fantastic teams. But my question is, who is better, the Patriots or the Rams? If you're new to the Bottom Line View and this series, we take a look at every position and evaluate both teams' talent. Then I come to a decision by tallying the score. This is not a prediction of who will win. We have other videos for that. This is purely just judging the talent, my evaluation of the Rams and the Patriots. Before I dive into the depth charts, subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL vids like this, and Gronk spike the like button. Also, comment below who you think is better, LA or New England. Let's kick it off with the quarterback position, Tom Brady and Jared Goff. On one side, we have a veteran, a guy with a ton of experience, more experience than anybody in this spot. And on the other side, we have a youngster who wants to show his worth in the biggest moment possible, the biggest stage, Super Bowl 53. Tom Brady so far in the playoffs has been pretty good. He's playing his best football so far this season. 691 yards, which leads the postseason. 2 touchdowns. He does have 2 interceptions from the Kansas City game and a 91.5 passer rating. He also leads the playoffs with a 71% completion percentage. Jared Goff, 58.8 completion percentage, 483 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and only a 79.5 passer rating. Kind of a rough postseason so far for Jared Goff, but if you really evaluate his play in that NFC Championship game, he made a ton of big-time throws. He does have some athleticism to escape pressure and get outside the pocket. They love to use him in bootleg scenarios, a lot of play-action plays down the field, and Jared Goff is a very accurate quarterback. He can get rattled at times, especially when he's kind of overwhelmed by the situation, overwhelmed by the defense. Tom Brady, on the other hand, he does not get overwhelmed in any scenario because he's just seen it all. It doesn't matter what the defense is throwing at him, where he's playing. Tom Brady is going to come. He's going to come clutch. And Tom Brady definitely, the Patriots get the advantage here at the quarterback position. Brady is the GOAT, and definitely, especially in the Super Bowl stage, they have a decisive advantage over the LA Rams. At the running back position, I think both teams have great rushing attacks. I think you could argue that the best rushing attack from the AFC and the best rushing attack from the NFC made it to the Super Bowl this year. So that's fascinating. Looking at it from the Patriot perspective, Sony Michel has been an animal in the playoffs and late in this season. 242 yards, which leads the playoffs for rushing yards. 5 touchdowns, which also leads the playoffs in rushing touchdowns. A 4.6 yards per carry. Very, very solid play so far from Sony Michel in these playoffs. He is just getting extra yardage. He's bursting through those holes. Big gain after big gain and big play after big play. He is able to find those holes and hit them hard. James White, 19 receptions in these playoffs, which is leading the way for catches, 146 yards. He is a receiving back, but he's arguably the best in the game at that. He is clutch. He makes big third down conversions, as we saw in that Chiefs game. I think he had 5 or 6 by himself in that game alone. Whether it was running the ball, catching the ball, James White does it all. Rex Burkhead, 3 touchdowns in these playoffs. He is for sure the third string, but he does see a fair share of action. 53 yards so far and some really clutch plays in that Kansas City game in the AFC Championship. On the other side, we look at Todd Gurley and CJ Anderson, a dynamic combination so far these playoffs, specifically in that Dallas Cowboys game where they absolutely ran over the Cowboys. Against the Saints, they were up against a tough test in the #1 rushing defense in the NFL in the Saints, but they still came through, specifically CJ Anderson with a couple of plays. I don't know what was going on with Todd Gurley last game. I still am not buying the whole I was playing bad, so I wasn't playing, because Todd Gurley is too elite. He's being paid too much money for them not to play him. Is he 100%? What is going on with the Rams? Was that really a game plan thing? Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me personally. Let me know what you guys think about that. CJ Anderson, 167 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. And Gurley has good statistics as well. 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.3 yards per carry. Had a big touchdown in that Saints game. But overall, if Todd Gurley is 100% and he's Todd Gurley, I'm going with the Rams. So I'm going to stick with the Rams here because I assume Todd Gurley is healthy. But if he's not healthy, the Patriots very well will have an advantage in this category. The way that Sony Michel is running the ball, the way that James White is catching the ball. So this is an interesting category to look forward to in this game. At wide receiver, I think it's another close one, but overall you go with the LA Rams because of their combination of Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has 11 catches for 171 yards. Robert Woods, 12 catches for 102 yards. Both players, 0 touchdowns though. So that's something interesting. Maybe they break through in the Super Bowl. When you look at Brandon Cooks, he had a fantastic game against the Saints. He made a number of key catches in key situations, and they're going to count on him against his former team, the team that just traded him this past offseason. Brandon Cooks does have more yards with 171 so far this postseason. He is the big play guy. He's the field stretcher. He's the down the field threat. He's also a very underrated, shifty route runner. Hard to handle because of his downfield speed, but also he has that ability to stop on a dime and come back to the ball or go over the middle. And Brandon Cooks, a well-rounded route runner as well as a deep threat, which I really like about his game. Josh Reynolds, a decent guy overall. He makes some plays. He does have some decent speed, but he's not Cooper Kupp, and they may miss him in this game. Looking at the Patriots, Julian Edelman is... Man, I can't say enough words about Julian Edelman. The guy is tougher than nails. He just gets hit over the middle. He bounces back up. He makes plays. He makes clutch plays. And he is, in my personal opinion, the second greatest playoff receiver of all time and the best playoff receiver I've ever personally seen with my own 2 eyes, live and in person. Philip Dorsett, he has had some clutch plays in these playoffs. 70 yards, 5 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. Both of Tom Brady's touchdowns have gone to Philip Dorsett these playoffs. Philip Dorsett, in a way, is kind of like Brandon Cooks light. And Philip Dorsett, he's a tough guy, a very intelligent guy, a hard worker. The Patriots love him, and he's made some big plays. Chris Hogan stepped it up recently, had a pretty good game against the Chiefs. That one-handed catch, spectacular. And he's proven to be a pretty good player in these moments in the past, so we'll see if he can show up in the Super Bowl. And they also throw in Cordell Patterson every now and again. He can make some catches. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands as a kick returner. And Cordell Patterson, you got to look out for him as a running back, as a receiver, and just as a chess piece for the Patriots offense. But overall, going with the Rams, they're just Woods and Cooks too much to handle there. Even though I think Edelman might be the best receiver in this game, overall Woods and Cooks, that combo is just too much. At the tight end position, the New England Patriots. Of course, you're dealing with Rob Gronkowski here. Again, in my opinion, the greatest tight end ever to play, the most dominant tight end ever to play, and he's not only shown it in receiving against the Chiefs, but also blocking in both games. Now, he's not what he was in his prime, but he's still a fantastic player. He showed in that Chiefs game that he can make some clutch plays on 3rd down, whether that's catching a slant over the middle, catching a fade down the left sideline. One-on-one, he'll make a play. Tom Brady still trusts him. He's still big. He's still powerful. He's still strong. He's still tough to handle and take down. Rob Gronkowski's still the man. When it comes to the LA tight ends, Higbee and Everett, these guys, they're nice little receivers. They're not the greatest in the run game in terms of run blocking, but they can do it. And Higbee and Everett, they've made some big time plays in these playoffs. Some plays that coming into the playoffs you wouldn't really expect from them, but they've been counted on in some key situations. Higbee has a touchdown, 55 yards, 6 catches. Everett had some huge plays against the New Orleans Saints in the NFC Championship game with 2 catches for 50 yards. These guys, watch out for these guys. These guys are kind of X factors in the Super Bowl, but overall, you have to go with the Patriots for Rob Gronkowski and then also throwing in Dwayne Allen. The offensive lines, guys, I usually don't do this, and I hate to do this, but I'm going with a tie. And I have a reason to go with a tie here because these offensive lines are playing about as good as an offensive line can possibly play in the modern NFL. They have 7 players between the two of them, ranking in the top 10 at their position on Pro Football Focus. These two lines are fantastic. They've been great all year. They've been elite in the run and the pass game. And it's just really, really difficult to give one line the edge over the other. If I had to give an edge, I would say the Rams are better at tackle and the Patriots are better in the interior at guard and center. That's really where it breaks down to me. I feel like the Patriots with Andrews and Mason and Tooney at guard and center are fantastic. We've seen it in the run game recently, how great they've been. When you look at the tackles, especially Andrew Whitworth, who's just a standout, the Rams have great protection from their tackles, and especially in the pass game, and run blocking wise, they're great as well. It's so hard to poke holes in these offensive lines. I never do it, but I have to do it. It's a tie amongst the offensive lines here for the Rams and the Patriots. Defensive lines, the big boys in the middle. This is probably the biggest advantage that the Rams have in this game, is the positional battle between the interior pass rushers of the Patriots and the Rams. The Rams have Aaron Donald, the best player in football. Not even the best defensive player, probably the best player in football. He is dominant, 20.5 sacks during the regular season. He hasn't had a great playoffs in terms of numbers production, but he has had a number of key tackles for loss, a lot of disruption, a lot of pressure. And Aaron Donald, he's going to be in the face of Tom Brady unless they take that away. Ndamukong Suh, he has really turned it on over these last couple of games. He has really said, wait for January and I'm going to perform, and that's exactly what he's done. He's been vintage Ndamukong Suh. He's been prime Ndamukong Suh. He's making plays behind the line. He's beating people up. He's pushing running backs down. He's doing everything. I mean, Ndamukong Suh, he looks athletic as ever. He looks strong. He looks powerful. He looks like a handful for the Patriots. Michael Brockers, he's a very solid player. I would say more so as a run defender. And these three guys make up an extremely talented interior defensive line for the LA Rams. When switching it over to the Patriots, they just have a lot of guys that do different things. You know, Danny Shelton's their big run stuffer. He didn't even play against the Chiefs because they figured, hey, the Chiefs aren't going to run the ball. They're not going to even have a chance to run the ball the way we're going to play today. Malcolm Brown, he's kind of their do-it-all guy. He's more of a run stuffer, doesn't really get after the quarterback a lot, but he's their traditional defensive tackle. Lawrence Guy, he's a mix of everything as well. I'd say he's the most talented at the position. He can get after the quarterback, half a sack so far this postseason, but also he can stuff the run. He was a top 10 rated interior defender by Pro Football Focus. You look at Adam Butler, he's just strictly a pass rusher, a guy that they like because he's a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker, a little bit more finesse in the inside as a pass rusher. The Rams are phenomenal, the best maybe at this position in the entire NFL, so you got to go with the Rams. At the edge position, I am siding with the Patriots. When looking at the Rams, they really have one player I really like. That's Dante Fowler. 1.5 sacks so far this postseason. He actually dominated against the Patriots earlier this year as a member of the Jaguars, and he has shown that he can get after the quarterback. He's not great in the run game. He sometimes does get overpowered, but his finesse and his quickness off the edge can be a handful for bigger tackles in the NFL on third down. You look at Ebukam, Longacre, these guys probably wouldn't even play much for the Patriots. So that being said, this is one of the positional weaknesses of the Rams roster. Overall, Fowler's pretty good, but the rest of their position, not a lot of depth there. So I'm going with the Patriots. When looking at the Patriots, Trey Flowers. Trey Flowers has been dominant this postseason, 2 sacks this postseason. He's been in the face of Rivers, in the face of Mahomes, making plays in the run game, the pass game. Trey Flowers, dominant player, a very underrated player. Simon was a nice mid-season addition for this Patriots roster, added some athletic ability to this outside linebacker DN mixture here. Half a sack so far this postseason. Adrian Claiborne, 1 sack so far this postseason, really has taken it up a notch in the postseason compared to the regular season, where I felt like he was sort of a bust as a signing for the Patriots. But in the postseason, he's made a lot of plays and has been in the face of quarterbacks. The linebacker position, I have to also side with the Patriots here. Kyle Van Noy has been one of the best players in these playoffs defensively for any team. Dante Hightower has proven he is a playmaker in the playoffs. Just look back at Super Bowl 51. And Landon Roberts is a nice run stuffer for them, who doesn't play as much as Hightower or Van Noy, not nearly as much, but he does have a role that he's very good at. Mark Barron, Corey Littleton, they play a ton for the Rams. They just don't play very well for the Rams. Mark Barron, I would say, is the weaker of the two. Corey Littleton has surprised me at times this season. Both of these guys are on the smaller end, which does concern me against the Patriots rushing attack. And they also didn't do too well against Alvin Kamara, but who really does in the passing game last week? So the Patriots will probably look to attack these two guys. Is this, again, the linebacker position overall for the Rams is a positional weakness. And the thing I love about the Patriots linebackers is both Van Noy and Hightower, they can cover, they can blitz, they can stop the run, they're big. And when they come through on those blitzes, it's hard for backs to handle them on third down blocking. That's what I love about Van Noy and Hightower. They also can rush from the edge and act as, edge rushers as well. So Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower, these two guys have been dominant, really good, and I look forward to them playing in the Super Bowl. If you're looking at the names, you're probably saying, hey, the Rams corners are better. They got Marcus Peters, they got Aqib Talib, Roby Coleman's pretty good, I know him too. Who's J.C. Jackson? Jason McCourty, he's played for the Titans and the Browns his whole life. Jonathan Jones, isn't he a special teamer? The only guy you probably know on the Patriots is Stephon Gilmore. If you've been paying attention to the New England Patriots, you know that their cornerback position is their defense's strength. A lot of people, for whatever reason, are not giving the respect to the Patriots corners. There's a reason why Patrick Mahomes went 15 for 31 against the Patriots. There's a reason why the Patriots held the Chiefs to 0 points in the first half. Their corner play has been really, really good. And even when it hasn't, it's because their defense is designed to put a lot of pressure on the cornerback position. They play more man than any team in the league. They play more cover one with one high safety than anybody in the league. They blitz cover zero more than just about anybody in the league. And a lot of that's because they have an all-pro corner in Stephon Gilmore, who's a shutdown guy, a young undrafted player who's proven to be a really good player in J.C. Jackson and with a bright future, who's physical, big, both of these guys, physical, big, press cover corners. Jason McCourty's a veteran who's a very good third corner. Jonathan Jones has a ton of speed. Keon Crossen a ton of speed. And when you're playing a lot of man-to-man, that's asking a lot from your corners. When you look at the Rams, they have played some man-to-man. They've shifted more to a zone team because they've realized, hey, Marcus Peters, he's not cutting it right now as a man-to-man corner, and he really hasn't played well all year long. Ranked 95th at the corner position by Pro Football Focus. He hasn't made those game-breaking interceptions like he has in the past for the Chiefs. Roby Coleman, he's probably been their best, most consistent corner as a slot corner, but last week he struggled against the Saints somewhat. Troy Hill, he's kind of a replacement guy whenever one of these three guys gets injured. Aqib Talib, their number one guy, he always takes the number one receiver. He's not quite as good as when he was a Bronco, but he's still a very good corner. Overall, though, the Patriots, what they're able to do with their secondary has been out of this world, and you can't ask anything more from a corner group. And I can't stress enough that the Patriots' strength in their defense is with their corners. At the safety position, the New England Patriots. The safeties for the Patriots are very smart. They're very experienced. They act as both linebackers and corners. Devin McCourty, you can see at times covering receivers. Patrick Chung, at times you could see playing slot corner or linebacker, depending on the game. Jaron Harmon is a great center fielder who makes big-time clutch interceptions. That's not to say the Rams don't have good safeties. They do. John Johnson, really good. LaMarcus Joyner had a rougher season this year, but still a pretty solid player. LaMarcus Joyner more of the cover guy, Johnson more of the box safety, but they don't have the depth like the Patriots do, and they don't have the experience like the Patriots do, and I would argue they don't have the coverage skills that the Patriots do as well. Devin McCourty, his range allows the Patriots to play a lot of cover one with only him back deep. At the kicker position, the LA Rams. The LA Rams, I have to go with Greg the Leg. This guy has just been absolutely clutch, out of his mind this postseason. And against the Saints, he made an out-of-his-mind kick, 57 yards for the win. I just have to give that range the edge. Steven Gostkowski is a great kicker, but he doesn't have the range that Greg the Leg does, and it's in a dome, so that means Greg the Leg has arguably like a 60-yard range here. Special teams wise, I am siding with the LA Rams. I'm siding with the LA Rams for one reason and one reason only. Johnny Hekker. Not only is he a fantastic punter, but he can pull off some ridiculous fakes that no other punter would be asked to do. He's asked to throw like a 12-yard curl route for the first down on the biggest play of the game that would decide the game in an NFC championship. So that's why I'm going with the Rams and special teams. They have a great coach, special teams wise. The Patriots do have probably a returner edge with Cordell Patterson and Julian Edelman, but overall, the way that the Rams are able to execute these fakes and tricks, I gotta give it to the Rams. The head coaching position, I'm going with the Patriots. It's Bill Belichick, it's Sean McVay. It's a great matchup. It's offense versus defense, but it's Bill Belichick. He's the greatest coach of all time, and he's been there more times than anybody else. If you count as an assistant, he's been there, I don't know, almost 40% of the time, something ridiculous like that. Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, like I said, a great matchup, but Belichick gets the edge. Looking at it, the Patriots do get the edge. It's a very close battle here for who is better, who is more talented. There is one tie here, which I try not to do, but let me know what you guys think. I gave you my opinion. Now, give me yours in the comment section below. It's Mitch at the Bottom Line View. Thanks, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more Bottom Line View and NFL content. It's Mitch. Peace out.